Hello, everybody, and welcome to the GamersGrove podcast, episode 9. Today is Sunday, April 1st. I am your host, Will, here with my co-host, Brady.
Hello.
Hello. No Austin once again this week. He is busy dealing with responsibilities and, that kind of stuff. So he won't be joining us today. If you don't know who we are, if this is your first time listening into us, we are a group of guys who enjoy playing video games and keeping up with video game news, and we try to do our best to translate that over to you guys who maybe don't necessarily keep up with games or gaming news but want to. So if that sounds like your kind of thing, then you're in the right place. This week we're going to be talking about Fortnite's new updates and how that may be a good or bad thing for the future of them, No Man's Sky's next update announcement, and Sea of Thieves and the current division it is kind of creating in the game industry. But before we get into any of that, we're going to be talking about games we played this week. Brady, why don't you start us off?
Sure. So, as I've said the last 3 weeks or 2 weeks, I've been playing a lot of Battlefield 4. Austin and I have been playing a lot. Good game. Nothing more to say about it, really. But also, I've mentioned this before, I've been playing PUBG Mobile a little bit more because I had some friends and they were playing it and I was like, I'll hop in. We were kind of just hanging out, and it's actually with a group of friends, it's almost as fun as the PC version. We were just all sitting on the couch playing. One person was somewhere else and he was using voice chat in game, and it was actually really good, really clear.
Through the phone?
Yeah, through the phone. It was
wow.
It was really good quality and everything. But yeah, I mean, I just been playing that. There's not much to say about it. I kind of mentioned a lot of things. Last time I talked about it, how vehicles are OP and there's no field of view and everyone just kind of looking around, figuring out what to do. But I must say, though, since the last time, a lot of people have gotten better at it, and there's a little more competition. It's not as easy as it was the first, day it started.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta win your first game.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, just sitting in a vehicle, and I talked to my friend too. I was like, wait, how'd you? He's like, yeah, I won my third game. I was like, oh, how'd you win? He's like, oh, in a vehicle. I just ran people over. It's oh yeah, of course. Wow. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me this week. Slow week, lots of Battlefield though.
Okay. For my birthday last week, I got the new Doom game finally, and I haven't beat it yet, but I'm about 8-9 hours into it now, and it is awesome. It is pretty much just it's like the first Doom game, the original Doom from back in the late 90s. Just remade, and not really remade, but same gameplay, same vibe with better graphics, and it's so fun. It's like the best way to put it is it's a mother's worst nightmare, because it's heavy metal music, satanic rituals, demons, and just as much violence and gore as you could possibly imagine.
Man,
but it's
really
cool.
All of religion's worst nightmare. Or actually, everyone's worst nightmare.
I mean, to be fair, I'm killing the demons. I'm not helping them out. So I'm doing the world a favor. But it's really nice because it's in the same vein as the new Wolfenstein games. It is kind of just an immediate callback to the old school FPS games, where it's all about high mobility and running around finding secret puzzles and hidden items and stuff in levels, really big detailed level design. It's really cool. It honestly just feels like Doom Classic on modern graphics, and it's getting the recognition it deserves. I mean, I'm the one late to the party. It came out 2 years ago, but it's awesome.
Patient gamers.
That's right. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm kind of curious to check out the multiplayer, though.
Oh, they're up there. I didn't even remember that. I remember them sending level customization or something. That was really the only thing I remembered about multiplayer.
Yeah, it has a they call it a snap map, and I haven't dived into that yet. I've just been trying to power through the player bits of it, but it's essentially just like you build your own arenas and stuff, and then you could share it with people. I think it has co-op and stuff too, so
yeah,
that could give a lot of extra replayability.
yeah, definitely.
One thing I have learned from the campaign, at least, is this is the kind of game that has to be played on the hardest difficulty. Like whether you're like really good at it or not, I personally think like if you want the true Doom experience, you have to play it on the hardest difficulty, because the whole thing about Doom is that you're just this mad as hell space marine guy who just takes on literal hordes of demons like nothing. And you can't like, the best way to get that vibe is just when you have it on the hardest difficulty, because then there is literal hordes that they spawn at you, and you're running all over the map like crazy and just kind of drive by shooting demons or ripping their heads off, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But it's really nice. It's cool to see id go back to their roots. id Software is the people who developed it. Pretty much like all the same people. I think John Romero is still like was still on board and like the director this time around. Cool. So it's like all the dorks of the 90s came back together and remade Doom. Outside of that, I got my girlfriend Rebecca into World of Warcraft.
Oh, nice. Classic.
That's a dangerous rabbit hole already.
I
know. I think it was yesterday at work, or I was at work. And when I came home, I was like, "Hey, like, how was your day?" And she was like, "Oh, I spent the last like 9 hours playing World of Warcraft." So, yep. That's how it goes.
I remember like when I first started playing a couple years ago, I had like a big test I need to take, and our friend Steve we were gonna play together, and I was like, all right, like I'm gonna wait until I finish this test before I start, because I don't want to get super into it and then just have it like take over my life and fail this test. So, and after that, I played smart. For like. Yeah, I played for a long time.
Yeah, it's a dangerous game because it really hooks you in. I haven't like, I've been kind of playing a bit with her on just like the free trial, which is how she's doing it. I don't really want to resubscribe yet, just because this is like the cycle that most World of Warcraft players go through, to where we all resub when the new expansion comes out, play for, a year and a half, cancel the subscription, and resub once the next expansion comes out.
Yeah,
that's kind of the cycle of life for World of Warcraft. You never really quit WoW.
Yeah, after because I started playing right before Legion, and I played. I think I started in like May or June. I pretty much played all through Legion, and then I like 6 months or so. Then I took like a couple month, like 2 or 3 month break, and then it's usually when the new raid comes out, I'll get back into it. And I found a good like raiding guild, so I was kind of like consistently doing things. But then after usually like 8 or 9 months before the next expansion comes out, they stop like adding new content, and so the raid becomes pretty easy, and there's not much to do besides just kind of get your little item level upgrades and things like that. So I stopped like last year in November or something like that, and we still have a while for the new expansion. They've said they still haven't even given a official release date on the Battle for Azeroth, it's called. They've only said as late as September 21st, so we're not gonna get it any later than that. I feel like that's when we're gonna get it. Like, it's gonna be like a last minute. Yeah, it'll be probably August or September.
But something I thought was interesting, at least when Rebecca was playing, she was like really hesitant to play. She said it was like a game she had always wanted to play, but she had tried like back in like WoW Classic or Burning Crusade, the first expansion. And back then it was still like a more like hardcore MMO type thing, so they didn't really like help you out.
Yeah.
And she couldn't figure out how to play, and so she gave up. And so I was sitting with her, like, giving tips and advice like when needed, but they've made it really like, it's really like you can't not figure out what to do. I mean, like to where they have like text icons just like taking up the whole screen. It's like, hey, do this. Like you have to do this.
Go here.
It's cool that they're keeping up with, even like in this day and age where pretty much everybody, whether you play the games or not, everybody knows what World of Warcraft is. It's just one of those games. Yep. But they're still like making it and prepping it so that new people can come in and try it out.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of, yeah. And a lot of times, like in your example, there's with WoW, it's not like someone, it's like doesn't really have any friends that play it. I feel like it's always a friend like that plays it and like draws them in or something of the sort.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's a lot more fun with friends or people you know. Or I mean, you can meet a lot of people in the game too, with guilds and everything. So if you're like skeptical of trying it because you don't have anyone to play with, well, there's a lot of friendly people in game.
Yeah, it's nice. People are surprisingly friendly in World of Warcraft. Like, they also, I mean, they have servers that are literally like slated as like servers for new players.
True.
And even though they're for new players, like veterans play on those servers and just help people out. What they like to do. It's like it's way easier of a game to get into than it was like back in 2004.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's what I've been doing this week. With all that said, we can jump on over into the news. First thing we're going to talk about, it's kind of a two-parted thing. It's Fortnite's new update, which was the guided missile update, and the theory crafting that's been going around the rumor mills of the internet about a meteor in the sky over a certain place. But before we get into that, we'll talk about the update first. So in this new update, there was a lot of like little minor details, like they change and fix things every update. But the big thing of this update was this new guided missile. What it is basically it's just a rocket launcher that you control. You fire your missile and then you can steer the missile around. And I don't think it's infinite.
No, there's like a little time bar.
Okay. So you can control it for a certain amount of time, and then after that, it just kind of detaches and goes in the direction you have it pointed. I haven't really read up much on what people in the community think about this, but this is also an opinion coming from a guy who hasn't played Fortnite in like a month and a half now. Take it with a grain of salt, but I think it's a really bad idea and just seems very counterintuitive to Fortnite.
Yeah. I think in general, Fortnite is gonna, because they've been releasing a lot of new like weapons and stuff recently. I think it's gonna start catching up to them in terms of balance, because a lot of like games like this where it's pretty much it's only online multiplayer. It's you have to have it well balanced, otherwise people will like exploit whatever is the best or whatever is really good at the time. And I think people have been saying, the guide rocket, like if you get it, it's you could control where it goes. Like I don't know if people could destroy it or something as it's flying, but you can. Okay,
it has
but
a decent amount. It has like 100 health, so like it can take a few hits.
Yeah,
but you can kill it.
Okay,
that's still that's a lot of health.
Yeah, but either way, I think Fortnite's gonna run into some balancing issues really soon with releasing this many new weapons like super fast. Because if you think, it's kind of different, but like let's say Overwatch only releases like 2 to 3 new heroes a year, if that, and most of that time is balancing and figuring out how they're going to work with their heroes and et cetera. You could put any game in Overwatch's position to give an example, but yeah, I think balancing is going to become a really big thing recently or pretty soon with these new weapons, which they should have experience in with Paragon and Quake, or no, not Quake. Just Paragon and stuff. And I was thinking Quake, but
sorry, I don't mean to distract you while you're talking, Brady.
It's all right. Cows are good.
Yeah, I definitely agree. There's like, it's not. It's a double-edged sword. It is nice that they're pumping out the updates and keeping like the game fresh, like on an almost like nearly weekly basis. There's new stuff in this game, and that's nice. But like Brady said, balancing issues are a thing, and whenever new content is thrown into it, say you have, this doesn't exist really, but if you have a perfectly balanced game, if you add something into the mix, then it throws the balance off. And it takes time to then reconfigure and rebalance everything again. Even, and sometimes that could be like the assault rifle that's been in the game since day one. They may need to retweak that so that it counteracts the new rocket launcher, things like that. But that takes time to figure out. But when you're throwing in so much content, you don't have time to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
They seem like about a month ago, I think, when they announced they were going to start putting some items in the vault. I think that's their kind of way of just like a quick fix for balancing. What, I don't know if we ever talked about that on the podcast.
Yeah, you want to explain what the vault?
Yeah, so the vault, it's something a couple games do. I think Warframe is another game notably that does this. But basically, they take certain items that are in the game and they remove them from the game. Not permanently, but just maybe for a season or two, they're just gonna take it out. I think Fortnite has removed the one-handed SMGs from the game. Maybe both SMGs. But it's a way of just it helps with balancing. It also helps forcibly change the meta. SMGs are really good guns. So if they notice that every player picks up and uses as an SMG, or maybe 80% of people who win with an SMG, they can forcibly change that by just saying, well, you can't use the SMG.
Yeah.
And some people like that, some people don't, but it is a way to help with balancing. So
I think Hearthstone has done that before with cards where they're bugged out or something, or they're just way too good. They'll take them out, do some balancing, and then put it back.
That is true. Yeah, Hearthstone actually also does that, where just some of the older expansions, for the game, you can't use those cards in competitive mode.
Yeah, that. Actually, yeah, that's a good example, because they rotated almost, which that's other games do that with almost maps for that reason, because in here here's the storm, or Overwatch, League of Legends only has one map, so I can't really use that. But different maps have different metas and different styles of gameplay and different heroes and things you could use on those maps. Fortnite, there's only one map, so it's kind of hard to do that. But we could see them. Maybe they could take out a spot on the map, or replace. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Wonder if it's if changing something on the map, would change the meta. I don't really know a meta in Fortnite. I guess there's some things where the pump shotgun, you could switch and pump kind of thing, but they disabled that. But yeah, that's interesting to talk about the meta in a battle royale game. Never really thought about that.
Yeah, that is true. It's something, I'm sure it exists out there. The double pump shotgun was definitely a thing. That was by far the best thing you could do. But that was almost exploitation level of good, and that's why they didn't put that in the vault. They removed that.
Yeah.
They were just okay, you can't do that. But basically what we're getting at is taking away content you created in your game for a temporary takeaway is not something out of the norm. It is something that is done frequently. And in this case, it may be Epic's solution to their constant stream of updates. I wonder if maybe once the game's officially out, because it is still an early access game, maybe they'll slow down on the updates, or maybe they'll just stop completely. Doubt that, but
I think another thing is they're really competing with PUBG right now. And maybe when there's more or other battle royale games that are kind of good and up there with PUBG and Fortnite, they might not have to fight as much, just because they'll have their dedicated audience. And I think they're just trying to keep everyone's attention so they don't go elsewhere right now.
That is actually a good point. PUBG and Fortnite are in a literal arms race right now, and if any of them stop for even a second, they're gonna fall behind.
Yep.
So they can't have a gap. They just got to keep it moving. So that does it makes sense why things are the way they are with these two games. But I still think the guided missile is the wrong step to take. because it just seems to Fortnite, like PUBG is all about like, marksmanship and like sneaking around and sniping people. PUBG is all about like outplaying and basing up and what did I
You said PUBG. Yeah, twice. Yeah.
Fortnite, yeah. Sorry. Fortnite is all about like maneuverability, like building bases and just outplaying people. It's not so much about like, can you snipe this guy from across the map?
Yeah.
How run up on him, like sneak up on him without getting hit, things like that. The guided missile just takes all that away because it's like if you've got this like huge tower you built, I could just shoot my missile like right over it. And it's like, well, there goes that,
Yeah.
And we've already seen like all the streamers who play Fortnite have just like kill after kill after kill of guided missile thing.
You could also ride the guided missile, which apparently the devs didn't even know you could do until you saw people doing it. So I mean,
I wonder. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't know that because I would never think to do that.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either.
Somebody would just like, how did the first person figure that out? It's
I know.
Hey, like I'm just gonna try and jump on it and see what happens. Maybe they were trying to dodge it and they just accidentally landed on it.
True.
Took off.
Yeah.
Who knows?
That's funny.
But yeah, that's it for the update part. However, there's some interesting theories going around Fortnite community right now. For those of you who are not aware, a meteor has appeared in the sky of Fortnite, and it is in a specific place, right above a very infamous spot called Tilted Towers. Infamous even to the devs. The devs have outright said they don't like it and they think it takes away from the battle royale vibe, which I agree with. I think it is. It's fun. Like it is a fun spot to go to because it's just pure chaos. Because like half of the players all drop there, so it's fun if you want like that mad scramble, complete chaos feeling. But I think it does completely take away from the feeling you're supposed to have in a battle royale game. But so there's a meteor above that spot, Tilted Towers. There's also I'm gonna say now. I think this is a stretch, but anyways. There is controller vibrations, very specific controller vibrations. And somebody took these vibrations and translated it to Morse code. And this is the code they got, SOS D5 418. So, what people think this means? SOS, obviously, like help, send help, whatever. D5, if you look on the Fortnite map, Tilted Towers is exactly in the D5 square. Tilted Towers, it makes sense with the meteor. 418 being April 2018, or maybe April 18th. So people think, people are taking that and saying that that meteor is going to come crashing into Tilted Towers and destroy it at the end of the season. So next season, Tilted Towers will be no more, and maybe there will be a whole bunch of more stuff. There's also people are taking into consideration the fact that everything in this season is like space and dinosaur related. So it's like, space is coming from space.
I didn't think about that.
And now they're adding dinosaur skins and dinosaur stickers. So maybe it's like it's gonna go extinct. It's a whole thing right now. But that's where everybody is kind of currently in silent agreement on that Tilted Towers is going to go away, which kind of ties back into what we were mentioning before about changing the meta by changing a map. Which I think, honestly, if they did this, I think it'd be a good idea. I also think a lot of people would be very upset because even though like the devs don't like it, and there's people like us who don't really like and avoid Tilted Towers, a lot of people drop there because a lot of people like it. Like I said, it is fun. Like it's total chaos and crazy, and there's people around every corner, and like half of the players die in like 2 minutes. But it's exciting. So even though I think it'd be really cool and really a good idea if they did just literally nuke Tilted Towers, I think a lot of the player base would be upset too.
Yeah,
I'm sure they'd get over it. But
I mean, I also think going back to like the meta talk, if you take something out like that, I don't know if they're gonna replace it. Like we have kind of really talk about that? Like, if it's just going to be like a hole, or is it they're going to be, some buildings, or I don't know. You could kind of make kind of a cool story out of it, actually. But if you just get rid of it and like replace it with, a meteor, maybe it could be like ruins or something. But people just might go back to what the old meta was, which I think like everyone dropped to like retail row or something, or so sometimes taking it out that doesn't necessarily fix it, but they'll just go back to what they know or what they used to know.
Yeah, exactly. People would just revert back to what they did before, because before Tilted Towers, everybody went to retail, and so people say, well, Tilted Towers isn't there anymore, I'm gonna go to retail again.
Yeah, but
yeah,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I think like I'm kind of, I guess I'll take like the opposite stance to you, to where I think that would be the initial reaction, like everybody would like jump and dive into retail, but then I think eventually people would like spread out and like find other things to do.
Yeah.
It is clear that like Epic is trying to encourage people to like go other places, like with these weekly challenges they do now.
True. That's actually
like,
a good point.
Kill people in this location or loot chests over here. That's a very subtle way of saying stop doing the same thing every single game.
Yep. I didn't even think about that. That's also a really good point. But sometimes like I think of things as like almost an esport, just in terms of like balance and what they could change. Because if you think about it competitively, sometimes it like gives you a little different perspective than compared to like just a casual person who wants to get all the achievements and everything. So there's like, you could look at it two different ways at there's two different audiences, and sometimes this is a controversial topic about how the game developer balances the game. Like, do they balance it for casuals, or do they balance it for competitive people? There's not really like an esport around Fortnite. Like PUBG's kind of like rising in the esports. I think like there's like a league or something, but Fortnite, I don't think it's as competitive right now. But if there ever is one, it's like, okay, well, Epic Games, start balancing it just for the competitive or pro people that complain like this is too OP or whatever, or will they take into account just everyday casuals like us who just play every once in a while.
It is that that's a good thing to bring up for people who aren't aware. That is a very like controversial topic with competitive games. Obviously no developer is going to admit that they balance their game for pros, and it's a weird thing to think about, because you think like, well, they're playing the same game, how is it that you balance for one if they're both playing the same? But pro players just play on such, like, for lack of a better term, the like as perfect of a level as you can get. Like, they play everything to the absolute perfection because they have to, because they're professional. Where I like, if they know everything, they know what's good, they know what's bad, they know what's slightly better. And those little details, like even down to the like single digit numbers, make a difference. And so there's certain games, like, honestly, I think Overwatch balances for pros more than they balance for casuals.
Oh, definitely.
Because they have such a big pro league.
Yep.
Same with Counter-Strike, But that's something that they're not going to admit, because, the professionals make up like 1%, if even that, of your player base, And so it is a controversial thing that, like, how do you balance it? Do you balance it for the bulk of your audience, or do you balance it for the pros who bring in, like, views and sponsorships, and stuff like that?
I was just gonna say, sometimes it'll come down to who's making the like more money. Like an Overwatch league, one spot costs like $10 million or $20 million, however much. It's like, all right, like they're gonna have a little bias towards the competitive guys who are bringing in the views and the money, as compared to just everyday casuals. We don't say, okay, I say like casuals is a bad thing, but it's not a bad thing. Like, that's just like everyday
basically
players.
Everyone who's
not a pro,
like playing it for their job.
yeah, exactly. But then I want to also go back to the meta, because like, so you could have, if you think of a pro, it's like like, whoa, they're like professionally traveled. They do that for a job. But then you could even like within the game, like within like the casual players, there's like, you know, different metas as compared to like different ranks. And so I'm just trying to like defend the devs and saying like how hard it is to balance a game for everyone and have everyone be happy with the balance like they make, or the change they make to balance it. Because you could have a pro player who thinks, you know, Hanzo is OP, and then, you know, you could have someone in like silver, bronze be like, no, Hanzo's not good enough, and then people, you know, at gold and, you know, diamond or whatever be like, no, like I think he's good where he is. It's like, you know, who like where do you go from there? Like how do you balance someone like that who everyone has different opinions on who's good or not? But yeah.
It's true. Like it just really comes down to you have to try and get what the majority likes, because you're not gonna appease anybody with anything you do, and that's a life lesson for you. Just video games.
Good ethics right there.
But yeah, I mean, they're clearly like they're working and they're doing their best, and like I said, even the fact of like those little daily challenges of encouraging people to go other places, that's them like balancing, like trying to balance out the fact that they don't like how Tilted Towers plays out.
Exactly.
So they're definitely like, they're trying, and you know, I think some things work, some things don't, but that's just, you know, that's how it goes. It's why it's early access. I think as far as to like get to like the whole conspiracy theory thing,
back on track.
If that is the case, it's not even back on track. I'm going like right back to the meta stuff.
Okay, whatever.
I think that's a really cool way to balance a game in a way we haven't really seen before, to where you're changing the map. Like it's one thing to like just, we're gonna make a new map, but like if you're constantly changing an already existing map, that's a pretty new idea. That's pretty cool, and that'd be a good way to keep things like fresh, I think. Yeah,
because that goes back to games with only one map, and how could you balance without balancing the actual like guns or, you know, the heroes or champions? Like what can you do to change the game? And I guess there's in other games there's like, you know, merc camps and stuff, but and like this game, you know, it's not like the environment really could like has a big factor in doing anything. So yeah, props to Epic. That's a good point you brought up.
I honestly do hope that they try that, because I think somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't think of any game that has done that. Any game that's like a one map multiplayer type of thing. I can't think of anything. So that would be cool for them to do. And they're already like, you know, kind of setting the standard for what can a battle royale do. So why not keep going with it?
Yep.
Well, we just went way in on Fortnite.
Yeah, good discussion
though. To cover though. That was good. That was really good talk. The next thing on our list is Kingdom Come's free DLC, which it's not hugely newsworthy, but like I figured we'd mention it anyways. Essentially, I think as of today, Kingdom Come Deliverance just released 3 DLC packs. One is a HD texture pack, a HD sound pack, and a HD voice pack. And the voice pack comes in English, French, and German. This is basically the way Brady put it before the podcast was perfect. Of just like, why isn't this just like added into the game? Why does it need to be DLC? And like it's a weird thing of like, I don't like, I guess you could say like, well, they're giving players like the choice of whether they want it or not, but like, why wouldn't you want that? Even if your computer can't like maybe run it on its best settings.
That was the first thing I was thinking of.
Still, like maybe it also does optimization, or like everybody's gonna want like better voice acting and like sharper, crisper sound. Like to just add it into your update. Why do you have to? Why is it a separate thing? Like,
maybe they want some attention, or like, ooh, come download this. You know, I don't know, maybe there's something more to it that we're not seeing. But yeah, I think it should just be added in to begin with, or I don't know. This is like a Kickstarter milestone or something. Like I don't understand. I don't get why they're releasing it like this. It's just kind of weird to me.
I think you hit the nail on the head, honestly, and maybe it just comes down to a little PR move, so people I mean, people are gonna write articles like, "Hey, Warhorse
Yeah.
is giving out free DLC," like, "Ooh, look at how
Yeah.
cool we are," and it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
I see through you guys.
Yeah, right.
That's really all there is to say on that one.
Yeah.
Up next, this is something I insisted we talk about, even though it's very stupid and it's very old. The Lindsay Lohan lawsuit against Rockstar and specifically Grand Theft Auto 5 has been thrown out by the judges for a second time. So for those of you who do not know, when something Grand Theft Auto is kind of known for in their loading screens, they show like they transition between images of like thugs or really like rich snobby people, little poster babes, all those kind of things. And GTA 5 in particular has a picture that, if you're watching on YouTube, we will be showing you right now. Basically, a girl on the beach, like holding her phone out, taking a selfie. That's it. She's just like a little blonde beach babe. And Lindsay Lohan went ahead and was like, "Oh my God, that's me. You guys are using my likeness without my permission. I'm suing you." Rockstar's like, "No, this is stupid. It's just literally like it's a Californian girl. It's a stereotype. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe she's calling herself a California stereotype, but like Rockstar is also like satire of the real world is their thing. So when they say like this is literally just supposed to be a stereotypical Californian girl, that's believable because that's what they do.
Yep.
And this happened like long time ago. It passed like through some made a few waves and then got thrown out because they deemed Rockstar as this spoof and satire. It's not satire of you, just satire of California. Done. Lindsay Lohan's lawyers made an appeal, and I guess as of today, today or yesterday, the appeal was thrown out again. So I think this is the end of the Lindsay Lohan v. Rockstar legacy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like she just was short on cash, so
yeah,
she was like,
"Oh,
this will
name
be
out in the
easy
public."
cash. Yeah. Then another question to ask was Lindsay Lohan playing GTA 5? Is that why she saw it?
Yeah, like did somebody tell her this, or did she pick up her copy and was like, "Oh my God"? That's
she should be honored if it was based off her.
Honestly, yeah, I'd be pretty stoked if I was in a Grand Theft Auto game.
What up?
But that's actually it's off topic to the news topic, but that's something that happens a lot in the gaming industry. Lawsuits are thrown around left and right. Like more than anything, the first thing I was told when I started getting into the industry was prepare to get sued a lot. And it's I don't know why it's like that, but that really is the case. Like if you like really pay attention to the news, somebody is always suing somebody. It's just like the way, I don't know if like gamers are really petty or what, but like it's a thing. It really is a thing. And so I'm sure for long we'll hear about another lawsuit going.
Yeah, I think people are jealous of the video game industry's success recently, so
yeah,
they want in on
definitely.
it. Or they want a slice of the pie, that money.
Yeah, could be. I mean, sometimes it's gamers suing each other. So.
True. But I mean, hey, it's still money.
Yeah, it's always about money.
Yep.
All right. Next up on our list, we have Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves is a game that I should have been excited for, but not. It's a open world pirate simulator developed by Rare. For those of you who don't know who Rare are, you've probably played one of their games back in the day if you've ever owned a Nintendo 64. Rare was quite famous for the Banjo and Kazooie games, Conker's Bad Fur Day. They made Viva Pinata, GoldenEye. That's a big one.
Cameo. I mentioned
Cameo.
that in the last other podcast.
One of our episodes we mentioned Cameo. But the point is, they made a lot of games, a lot of really good games way back in the day. They were then scooped up by EA. They made a couple bad games, and then they just got like put on the sideline for a very long time. But they're back, I guess. and they made Sea of Thieves, which is getting interesting results, very mixed results. I don't think that's a bad thing. It's cool to have, like, it prompts discussion. I mean, we're talking about it right now. But so essentially what the controversy or the just debate is about is that people either hate Sea of Thieves because there's not much to do, or they like Sea of Thieves because there's just enough slash not enough to do and they don't mind. Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, Sea of Thieves essentially has about 3 things you can do: sail your ships, find pirate treasure, and fight like skeletons slash attack other players, and that's it, and then sail around the ocean. So that very quickly becomes not like there's not a lot to do there, and it's a strange thing. And we've sort of mentioned this topic before with other games. And Destiny 2 is another person who's problematic of this, although everybody just kind of doesn't like them versus the way it is with Sea of Thieves. But it's a weird thing of what is not enough content. We have a really good article that we're going to link for you that is by PC Gamer, that's literally talking about that. Like, what does it mean? Like, what is enough content? What's too much? Etc. And it's an interesting thing. And again, like just like we mentioned with Epic Games and Fortnite, what do they do? Because they've got half of the people saying they like it how it is, and the other half saying there's nothing to do and they don't like the game. It's interesting to say. I think they definitely, just from what I've heard and the little bit of gameplay I've seen, I've not actually played the game, but it doesn't seem like there's much of anything to do there. I did read, I read an interview, I think, with one of the directors, and they talked about how once you reach level 50, which is the level cap, that's when the game really opens up. And that's like most notably, that's how World of Warcraft is. People say the game really opens up to you once you reach max level, because then you could do raids and so on and so forth. So, assumedly that's how people thought Sea of Thieves was going to be. But from what I've read, and what I've seen on forums, people have hit the level cap of 50 and nothing's different. Not at all. They're level 50 and that's it. So Rare sort of just outright lied about that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't... Okay, not to the extent of, like, No Man's Sky, but yeah, you could say that. I also think, though, this comes down to, like, the progression, I guess. So, like, if we could use, like, most, like, MMO RPGs, like Eve or WoW, they don't... It's almost like up to the player to decide on what they want to do, or figure out like where they want to go or what they want to work towards. It's all like working towards something. And like WoW, it's like, okay, they have the raid, you want to work towards finishing the raid, get good gear. Like Eve, it's like you could work towards the ship, or you could work towards like in doing stuff for a corporation or whatever. Destiny 2, it was like working towards the raid, but it really wasn't. It was more of a grinding to get good gear to do the raid. But then once you got to the raid, like it wasn't as like satisfying as like a raid in WoW or something of the sort. It was different. But I mean, Sea of Thieves are just not that much to work towards. It's like it's all like cosmetic things. I think I haven't played it either, disclaimer. But it seems like it's more like towards like just cosmetic, or like I don't know, there's no like end game sort of quote unquote. But that could that's like, is there an end game in some of the other like contentless games? I don't know. It's all about the game trying to create like a drive for the player to like do something. So it's I don't know. We could talk about this for a while, in terms of what they need to do or what they could have done, or anything, or like we could relate to other games that have done it good and everything. But I think it comes down to the players and who the audience that they're trying to target, an audience that's going to play it. because
Yeah.
like in the article we mentioned PC Gamer, one of the guys is like, I find just sailing around the ocean like really soothing and relaxing. Like I think it's cool. And another guy's like, I think that's boring. Like I want to go do stuff, but I feel like I've done everything. So now I don't know what to do.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like you said, every game has to have something the players are driving for, even if that's like
Yep,
achievements.
I thought I was just
You
gonna bring
need
that
to
up.
have something you're pushing towards. And like we just said, some people like Sea of Thieves because they just find sailing around the ocean like really soothing. And there's an audience of people out there like that. I mean, Euro Truck Simulator,
Yep.
those are really popular games, and literally all you do is drive your truck around on the roads. You just are a actual trucker, and people love it. I think Sea of Thieves, the reason like it's kind of getting like more heated like discussions is because they were kind of vague about what it was going to be. Like if
Yeah.
they were out the gate like, hey, this is a game where you just kind of sail around the ocean and you find treasures every so often, or and like maybe fight players if you want, but like the kind of that's the thing, is like you just kind of chill out and go sail the seas, then people would be like, cool, because that's what they have right now. But they made it sort of vague, and they like talked about, oh, we got this like raid boss at the Kraken, and like there's all these things you can do, but now there's not. And so it's the divide there,
Yeah.
I think that we're gonna you guys are gonna hear all about No Man's Sky in a minute, but they went through the No Man's Sky syndrome, except that the only difference here being Rare is a very established company, so they know how to handle PR and interview questions better than No Man's Sky.
Yeah, Rare's owned by Microsoft and Microsoft Studios, so the game is only, this is like the Age of Empires Definitive Edition, the First Age remake. It's only on Xbox One and the Microsoft Store, and I'm honestly surprised it's getting this much attention for not being on like one of the big game
Steam.
publishing, Steam or like GOG or anything else. But I do remember seeing trailers. Like I think they marketed it well back in the day, because I remember seeing things like E3 and stuff for it.
Yeah.
But I also think this is kind of off topic, but another thing we could look forward to for the Division 2 is to see, I think we said this before, but what mistakes all these other games of the like are doing, and see if they could actually fix it. Which that's what everyone thought Destiny 2 was going to do, but it just turned into a mess.
Yeah, sometimes they just don't learn.
Yeah, I mean,
why?
Yeah, okay, that's another EA, but yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, but I guess this is kind of one of those things that it needs a bit more time to develop, and we need to see how Rare is going to handle it before we can really discuss it further. We may talk about this in maybe like a few more months in the future, but I'm sure it'll come back up.
Yeah,
if they decide what they want to do with the game
for sure.
And well, that brings us to the last thing on our list, the No Man's Sky next update. I'm not saying next update. It is the update is called Next. By the words of the very weirdly mysterious Sean Murray, he says it's called that because this is the next step in the adventure that we're all taking together. So before we even talk about this, because there's honestly not much to talk about with it, like always they're vague. Let me give you a rundown on No Man's Sky and Sean Murray. So, No Man's Sky, yeah, it's a doozy. No Man's Sky was a game that was first announced maybe 4 years ago now. I think
2014.
And it just said it was a space exploration game. You could travel the galaxy, and it showed these amazing looking planets that you could go to. You fly down, and you discover new species and plants and stuff, and you put it in the servers data log, so anybody else who goes there will see Will discovered this thing and he named it this, and that's it, that's my species now because I found it, things like that. And they made it look amazing and really cool. And Sean Murray, who is the CEO of his little very indie company, was thrown into the spotlight because everybody loved the look of this game. And this is one of those things where this is his company's first game. His company is called Hello Games, and this is still their first ever game. To be thrown into such a big like light like this is a big deal. You know, this is what indie people want, but it also shows you the dangers of it.
Yeah.
Sean Murray is terrible at interviews. People would ask him these questions because, again, like the trailer's vague. It's just like explore space. And it's like, okay, but like, what do we do? So people would be like, is there multiplayer? And he'd be like, yeah, you know, and it's like, okay, so you said yes. So there's multiplayer. And then they'd be like, you know, they'd ask him all these kind of questions and he would almost always say yes. And he just like, he didn't know how to answer them. And, you know, these are things you can't always, you're not going to have the solid answers when a game's in development, you know. We don't know if time is going to allow us to put multiplayer and things like that. But Sean Murray is a visionary. So yes to everything. This game is going to have everything. He is the modern day Peter Molyneux. I will link who Peter Molyneux is because I can't explain all that right now either, but I'll have a link for him in the description. But yeah, so Sean Murray was terrible at interviews, and his interviews, like, at the time weren't terrible. People saw like what he was saying and were like, oh my god, this game is going to be amazing. This is huge. Like, holy crap. Like, I was hyped up for this game. Like, this is like the dream come true for gamers. And then it took it a step further. Sony bought them and were like, you're going to make the game under our title and we're going to like publish it for you. Again, this is huge. These are a group of guys, like a literal group of guys, never made a game before, and they just got bought by Sony.
Yeah.
What? Like it was a big deal. It was the talk of the town for years and years, and then the game came out, and it was still the talk of the town, but in a very bad way.
Yeah. Because
people realized that Sean Murray lied about everything. And the game had absolutely nothing to do. The thing, like, I guess the one thing they were right about is that it's a literal galaxy. Like,
yeah, there's thousands. It might even be millions of planets to explore.
Yeah, basically what they did, they created a very complex, like, mathematical algorithm to like generate millions of planets and solar systems for people to explore through. And Sean Murray put it as like, everybody's going to spawn in different points all over this galaxy. They could meet up, but it's unlikely. Well, guess what, Sean Murray? You don't know how dedicated gamers are. Day one, people met up, and then that's when they found out they didn't meet up. Sean Murray was like, yeah, you'll be able to see other players. Nope, wrong.
No multiplayer.
Two people confirmed that they were in the exact same spot in the universe, and they could not see each other. They were both there. They were both on one server, but they couldn't see each other. And so Sean Murray caught in lie number one, and it just spiraled from there. Basically, what we learned from all of this was that procedural generation isn't always such a good thing on such a grand scale, because the idea was that, you're always going to be seeing these new planets and it's going to be really exciting, you know, all these discoveries. But really what it came down to is everything just kind of looked the same, just like different pieces, you know?
Yeah.
I think last week we linked that Mimi No Man's Sky trailer, and that's exactly what it was. It was just like Lego pieces, you know, just switching it around every time. And so all the planets just seemed all exactly the same, just like everything looking the tiniest bit different.
Yeah.
And it sucked. Yep. And then on top of that, they found out there was absolutely nothing to do in the game.
Yeah, except explore.
Yeah. The game had a story, and the story was get to the center of the universe. Somebody did that. The game zooms out and just starts you over. No credits, no thanks for playing. Nothing, no new items, like just it. You got it.
Yeah, I don't think they're expecting anyone to get that. So,
yeah, exactly. It was it was a very clear case of some indie guys not expecting or anticipating their game to blow up as big as it did, and people to be as driven as they were. Like if they stayed just like small indie and had like a little bit of attention, and their game came out,
Yeah, who
whatever.
knows?
Nobody like it. People would probably be still playing it to this day, and maybe it would not have gotten to the center of the universe. Things like that.
Yeah.
But it happened.
And then,
yeah,
you're probably gonna say it.
They went radio silent.
Mm-hmm.
People were just like, Sean, where's this? Where's that? What are you planning to do? What's going on? They gave us nothing. I think 3 to 4 months of complete silence from Hello Games. And then
it was like a patch, like a simple like bug fix or something patch. Everyone's like, whoa.
Yeah, and so people are like, what's going on? Are they working on the game? Have they given up? Like, did I just like get screwed out of $60? It like the game was so badly received that like Steam has a 2-hour refund policy. Play a game for 2 hours, and if you don't like it, you can refund it. They were allowing full refunds, like most platforms, not just Steam too. Like they were like, hey, I don't care if you put 40 hours into this. If you want to refund it, you're getting your money back. It was a hot mess.
Yeah.
But then about a year later, they released the first update for the game, like the first
big
official
update. Yeah.
And it allowed quick travel between planets. It allowed base building and like allowing vehicles on planets, things like that. Pretty like a big update. Something that should have been in the game from the start, but a year later, at least they were getting it. Since then, we've pretty much gotten radio silence again, and now Sean Murray's like, hey, we've got update 2 for you. And it's for me, it's just a mixture of nobody cares anymore.
Yep.
Cut your losses and like go make a new game or something.
That's exactly
like,
it.
Give up on this one. The fact that it's now taken you like 4+ years to just barely be starting to put everything that should have been in the game from the start. Like, I know you did, like this was probably his passion project, but just give it up, man.
Yep.
It's too late. You screwed up big time. Move on. Just take the L. Go to the next thing.
My one biggest gripe of the game was I actually would have played it a little longer just to see, but the FOV is so bad. Like it's like you're zoomed in. Like I get like headaches. I played it. I think I have 6 hours total, and that 6 hours was like the first day, and now I haven't opened it up since. But the FOV is so bad. Like I can't even describe how bad it is. But think of like just something that's like you're looking through like a telescope, and you just play. That's how you see all the time, and it's literally unplayable because of the FOV.
Real quick, just to explain FOV. I don't know. We may have explained before, but FOV is like your field of view, and basically the higher the number is, the more like out this way you can see. So on average, the games is like this. It's like blenders on like this. I'm doing hand gestures, so I'm sorry if you're not on YouTube, but imagine
it's like a 45-degree angle outward.
45-degree angle out from the sides of your face. No Man's Skies was like a cone inward on your face and just zoomed in. And it really does give you headaches. Like it makes you feel nauseous and sick. Within like hours, I feel like people were like, hey, I hacked the game to like fix the FOV because it was that bad.
It was like a meme almost. Like it's like there's like other games and it's like zoomed in. It's like, oh, this is how No Man's Sky looks or whatever. Like I'm in No Man's Sky mode or something. So yeah, it makes it unplayable for me.
Yeah.
So unless they fix that, then I'm not even gonna open it up to see what this update is. And they haven't even. I don't think have they given any information on what the actual update is gonna involve or what content.
Nothing. I don't believe they've actually.
The typical hyping it up for nothing.
Yeah, like even. And it sucks because like people said like the last update that they put out last year was actually good and like actually made the game enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's just like it's too like it takes them too long to do I'm sure Sony like took away like all their resources to
Oh
put
yeah,
elsewhere.
they're probably
But,
stripped
like,
down. And
yeah,
there's if you still want, like, you're interested, there's a lot of other good space like RPGs that you could play out there that are way better than No Man's Sky.
yes.
Like you don't even have to try and look. Just search like space RPG or something, and
Space
whatever the top,
exploration.
yeah,
You'll
space
find
exploration,
stuff.
whatever the top like 5 are, just play those.
Because they're all better than Open.
Yeah, pretty much.
So basically, we gave you this very long history lesson just to tell you that nobody cares about this update.
Yeah, right. Hey, we're helping the newcomers out.
Yeah. Don't fall into the trap of Sean Murray.
Yeah.
Still,
Yeah.
I almost feel bad for the guy because he has like, he's a visionary.
Yeah,
he has
exactly.
good ideas and he wants his game to be great. I guarantee you that's why he hasn't given up on it yet. Because he has these wild, crazy ideas for an awesome game. But it's like, you got to ground yourself in reality and realize that you can't reasonably do all those things. You don't have the resources to do all those. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah,
But,
I think like you said, he just needs to start a new game. Like, it'll get attention because it's Hello Games, you know, the people that failed. You know, just redeem yourself with, like, not even a big project, just something that's just a cool game.
Just smart,
you know?
yeah, do something
Like,
small.
Yeah, like, you're an indie company, just stick with your roots and make something that's good.
Yeah. I think that's what they need to do. And maybe, honestly, like, hopefully after this update, they will move on. Because they should.
Yep.
All right. Well, that covers it for all our news and kind of everything for this episode. We're going to give you our closers for stuff that has happened on this day in gaming. So, Brady, will you start us off with something you found that happened today?
So this day in gaming on April 1st, 2008, and this is no April Fool's joke, by the way. Sorry, we're not funny enough.
These are all legit.
Yeah, we're not funny enough to give you a cool joke, but Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell came out for Steam on Windows. Splinter Cell is a fantastic single-player game, which, you know, I feel like we're not getting. Is Far Cry 5 just came out, but single-player games are hard to come by sometimes today. It's a great, like, stealth single-player game, probably one of the best in its genre, like up there with like Dishonored and stuff. And it's like
Metal Gear Solid.
Okay, Metal Gear Solid 2, but Konami. Anyways, it's more modern. I guess Metal Gear Solid is too, but it's like modern, futuristic stealth game. I played like the past like 3, I think. I played one on. It might have actually been the original, but I played one on like the PS2, I think. But yeah, great series, great game. You could pick them up pretty cheap right now because they haven't come out with a new one recently. So if you want to get into some stealth games, Splinter Cell's the way to go right now.
Definitely, yeah. Like Brady said, like Metal Gear Solid, I give a lot of history stuff. Metal Gear Solid created the stealth action genre, and then Splinter Cell like improved upon it. Like Splinter Cell was the next big like stealth game to be made after the Metal Gear Solid game. And those games were hard.
Yes,
like,
they're still
I
hard.
The first one, yeah, they're really hard. But they're really good. You know, they're very like their whole thing is like really grounded in realism and all that stuff. And they're cool games, so it's worth checking out.
Yep.
I got 2 things for you today, because I'm gonna give one for Austin.
Oh, there, okay.
Since he's
Represent.
not here. Rip. Yeah, represent Austin. So on this day in gaming, April 1st, 1992, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past came out for the SNES. I'm sure many of you, if you haven't heard of this game specifically, you've probably definitely heard of the Legend of Zelda series. It's talking about historical games. This is the game that like created the RPG, you know, games.
Yep.
Link to the Past is kind of considered one of the best ones, till dethroned by Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
But like Breath of the Wild, Link to the Past. What do you title? Link to the Past is like the one to play if you're gonna play one of them and you're not gonna pick up Breath of the Wild for whatever reason. But it had all those like those things I talked about like with Legend of Zelda games. It got that sense of adventure and finding all these weapons, and it's just like very smartly designed and crafted. Everything feels exactly how it should be. It's just a great game, And if you want to give yourself a little like history vibe or maybe some nostalgic feelings of how games used to be, that is a perfect example of one to use. And now I'm going to pick the one that I looked out. On this day in games, April 1st, 2008, Far Cry 1 came out on the Steam. The game itself came out in 2004, like 3rd, but Far Cry 1 on Steam came out April 1st, 2000. I figured that's relevant considering Far Cry 5 just came out. So if you were curious, the game that started it all came out on this day, 2008, 10 years ago. Holy crap, 10 years ago.
10 years.
2008 was 10 years ago. Jesus.
I know, right?
But yeah, that's cool. It was I didn't play the first one. I got introduced to the series at Far Cry 3, kind of when. Or actually, no, it's not true. Far Cry 2 was when I got introduced, but Far Cry 3 was when the games really blew up, and now it's where it's at now. They're a very fun series. They're one of the few things I feel that Ubisoft still does well.
Yeah.
So. They're improving ever so slightly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's another thing. If you wanna, maybe you just picked up Far Cry 5 and you're really digging it. Maybe you just beat it and you want to see how it all got started. Check out Far Cry 1. But that is everything for today. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this episode. I gotta say, I think this was my personal favorite episode we've had so far.
We had some good talks.
Yeah, we had some really good talks in there. But all right. Thank y'all for listening, and hopefully we will see. Oh, sorry.
Where can you find us?
I gotta plug us. Yeah, where can you find us? Sorry. You can find us on our website at GamersGrove.net. If you're listening to this, it's gonna be Wednesday when you're listening to this. So my article will have just come out either on Monday or Tuesday. So go check that out. I'd be very happy if you did. So again, that's at GamersGrove.net. You can also follow us on Twitter at GamersGrove or on my Twitter at GamersGroveWill.
And me at Brady House Mafia.
At Brady House
I'm trying
Mafia
to sneak that in past 2 weeks.
Sorry. I thought when you told me you made a new one, I thought you meant like a whatever.
Okay, yeah.
At Brady House Mafia as well. You can follow us on Steam and Discord. We will have links for that in the description. Facebook at GamersGrove Media. And is that everything?
Twitter at GamersGrove. I don't know if you said that.
I did.
Okay,
I got Twitter.
Yep.
I think that's everything.
If you find us one place, it'll have a link to the other places. So
yes, exactly.
If you for some reason need to find us somewhere else.
We're also on iTunes. If you're only a podcast guy, we're on iTunes.
Yeah.
All right. Thank y'all for listening. Hope to see you next week. Later.